Okay, today we're gonna French a rack of lamb. So we have a rack. Sometimes they come 2 to a pack. They usually have 7 ribs on the bone, and there's a lot of stuff to trim off of here. So what I usually do is I cut it in half, roughly, and there's the rib bones, but there's also a whole underneath bone section there that it's just not a case of just cutting straight through. So what I'm going to do is take off this fat cap. There's a fat cap right here. I don't know if you can see that. And it runs all along the top of the meat. I'm going to use a bigger knife. I think it'll be easier. And be real careful because you're cutting into your hand here. So what I'm doing is I've cut down the bones to get this fat cap off, and then I've cut across the meat into the bone. And we're going to just throw the fat there. And then what we want to do is we want to take all of this excess fat, meat, and cartilage from between the bones. That's what Frenching is. So cut down along the bone, and I think you can see this okay. So we're going to cut down along each bone, and then we're going to cut that. There's a half a bone in there I just found. So I'm going to cut all that off. You could use this for stock or something like that. If you really wanted to work it, you could probably saute it up for something. So we want to get these bones as clean as possible, and after we've cut all of this off, we're going to actually scrape them with the knife blade like this. Scrape off all that tendon matter and silver that's attached to the bones. We want these bones perfectly clean, and it doesn't take a lot of work, but it takes a little bit of work. So get all this meat and fat and stuff off the bones. And go right down to the top of that tenderloin there. Usually I prep these and cook them in half racks, and then when I plate it I cut it individual racks like lollipop, individual lamb lollipops. I'm going to get all of this stuff off. Sometimes when you get a good start on it at the bottom, it'll just peel right off the bone. Sometimes you have to cut it. Okay, there's a nice clean bone. Do that to all of them. And when you cook these, whatever excess is left on there will burn off as long as it's not too much. Okay, so now we've got 4 bones pretty clean, 4.5 bones. There's still a big silver here with skin and fat in it, so we're going to cut that off too. And that'll just peel off usually once you get a start on it. If you just run the knife under, once you get a little lift on it, if you just run the knife under it and rock the knife back and forth, you'll get most of it pretty easily. Get rid of this stuff, and that's how you get the cut it with a fork tenderness. Because this stuff is definitely not cut it with a fork. Okay, there's a nicely Frenched rack. We'll do the next one, next half of that one. Run the knife down the bone. Try to find the point where the fat meets the meat so that you're not cutting off a lot of meat. Sometimes you can't help it. And then just work a little tighter to get rid of the fat that is still there at the base. There's the other half of that rack. Beautiful.